Hey guys, welcome back to Sad Dad. My name's Dave Abkary and I'm a comedian out of Fresno, California, and this is a podcast where I sit down with my fellow funny friends, my fellow comedians, and we talk about dads. Hi, how are ya? How's your week been? We are in it, folks. We're doing the Sober October thing. We're here. I am super sober. I am so sober. Sober. I'm a day into it. Yesterday was fine. It went well. I've been doing, obviously no booze. And then I've been dieting. And that went okay. I'm doing the keto thing. I've done that before and I had some success with it. So, doing that. And then we had to, my group of buddies I'm doing it with, we had to cut out we had to cut out either nicotine or caffeine. And, I love my vape. So that's been the trickiest part for me. It's just fidgety. I'm so fidgety. So yeah, doing that. Excited though. It's good. It's nice to have the reset. I did it last year too, and it was good. So excited for that. Did some fun shows this week, actually with my guest today, Katrina Davis. She's an amazing talent. It was the first time we had her out, and she is so funny, so talented. I did, I'll tell you guys a quick story. I did comedy at a drag show, this last weekend, and, it was so funny that, the promoter, she's also the host and she's a drag queen herself. When she booked me, she was like, "Hey, could you wear something wacky?" We were trying to maintain the visual aesthetic of the show. And the first comedian we ever had on, he just kind of was dressed normal. It looked like we just pulled somebody out of the audience, and so we're trying to, want something visually appealing or striking about the comedian while they're on stage. And the promoter's like, you could wear like a banana costume or maybe like a clown costume or like a banana costume. And I was like, do you want me to dress as a banana? This keeps coming up. So I was kind of going back and forth, what should I wear? And then I was like, maybe I should get a banana costume, And so I did that. I ordered a banana costume off of Amazon. And here's a fun thing, the weird thing about banana costumes. I don't know if this is a thing, but when you look at the sizing on a banana costume, it's not by height or the circumference of your waist or anything like that. It goes by weight. Okay. So it's this banana costume is rated up to 300 pounds. It's what are we doing? What do they think people are doing in these banana costumes? I don't understand. So anyway, I ordered this banana costume, and the show is on a Sunday night, and the banana costume literally arrives Sunday afternoon, right? And so I get it, and they sent me the wrong size, so I didn't fit in this banana costume, and so I was kind of panicking. Thank God it's Halloween time, because I just all the Halloween superstores are around. So I just ran to a Halloween superstore. I poked around there for almost an hour trying to figure out what I was going to wear. They had this Beetlejuice kind of suit. It was the white and black stripes and a jacket and pants. And so I settled on that. It was a little small for me, but it's, I don't know. What are you going to do? They don't have plus size sections at the Spirit Halloween Superstore. So I don't know. Here we are. And so I got this jacket. I show up and I'm hanging out with all the drag queens, and they're all so nice, man. I was hanging out in the green room with them at this club, and watching them get ready, and it's just, I feel like such a jerk off. I'm like, I gotta get ready and put on this jacket. Meanwhile they're pulling each other, knees in the back, pulling the strings on these corsets and everything, and they're all so beautiful, and they're all so nice and answering all my dumb straight guy questions about what they're doing. At one point, the host does a costume change between acts, and she came back there and it was a NASCAR pit stop. She had an assistant there, and it was like changing out tires and stuff. That part's not true. But I was just like looking, like I was just absolutely like fascinated by what was going on. And one of the queens just saw me staring with like my jaw dropped, and she's like, "Dave, eyes up here." I was like, "Oh, sorry, yeah." So anyway, so it's my turn to go up on this show, on this drag show, and they bring me up, and I just proceeded to bomb my dick off. Like, they did not like me. In retrospect, I think I would have done a different set. It was my first time ever doing a drag show. I had like one set prepared, and I think in hindsight, I probably should have prepped a different set for it. But either way, they were just not feeling me that night. And bombing always sucks, like it never feels good. I know there's some comedians that just have a wild, like, they're just not self-aware enough to like acknowledge that they did bad. I almost understand it too, because it's like such a psychological trauma that it's just better to like be ignorant. Like, I did good. I got some laughs. There was one guy in the front that laughed a couple times, like, nah. And I did, it's not like I got 0 laughs. It was just, I know the difference between a good set and a bomb, and this is way closer to a bomb. So I get off stage, and I'm just feeling super shitty. But then I remembered, oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't bomb my dick off like that while dressed as a banana. Dad would have went home and just put the gun in his mouth if he had that set while dressed as a banana. At least I was able to save some dignity, At least I looked like a reasonable person, like a normal person while I was doing that. God, could you imagine just being up there dressed as a big dumb banana, just getting 0 laughs? Oh man, I don't know. And somebody's like, well, maybe it would have helped. No, it wouldn't have helped. No, not with that audience. Anyway, so yeah, thank God somebody was looking out for me. Someone was looking out for me, sending me the wrong size banana costume. Cool. All right. Well, that's been my week. Sober October, bombing my dick off. Thankfully not as a banana. That's it. Cool. I mentioned earlier your guest this week, Katrina Davis, super funny comedian. We talk about, she was born in Baltimore, raised in Florida, came out to LA or California a few years back. And it was the first time we've ever had her up. She came highly recommended from a friend of mine and previous Sad Dad guest, Anna Valenzuela, and it was like, you got to check out this Katrina chick, and I did, and I loved her tape, and just because somebody has a good tape doesn't mean it's necessarily going to translate to doing well in your room, but I don't know. I laughed so hard at the 5-minute clip she sent me, and I was like, I had a really good feeling about her. And she showed up, and she just burned the place down on Monday. And Tuesday went really well, and she did a totally different set. She did a totally different 25-minute set each night, and which is very, very impressive. To see somebody do. And you see that. Obviously with like big time comedians that have been doing it for 30 years, that's no problem at all. But for Katrina to come out and do it, she's just amazing. She's such a sweetheart, and she was so nice for driving all the way out to my place and doing this podcast with me. And it's great. I think you guys are really gonna like it. So without further ado, Katrina Davis. Put down my copy of the Necronomicon. That's what I'm gonna Venture do. Brothers, I saw that. yeah, I love the Venture Brothers. So that's cool. Awesome, sweet. Yeah, you can pop those bad boys good? On. I got your
Oh,
and
then
I got some headphones there for you, so you can hear yourself.
Okay.
And
my head wrap's always interesting with these. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, you got
I
it.
Had too much stuff on my head. It's my fault.
Let me. Is that a good level? I'm going to just get your levels a little bit.
Okay. I was going to say, I can hear me.
Good. I'm going to bump you up just a little bit.
I should talk louder. Okay, there we go.
You're good. No, I just want you to be comfortable.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
If that's like where the mic is good for you, then I'll just, perfect. I'll make it work. That's cool. Have you ever been to Fresno before? Is this your first time performing here?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I love it. Yeah. So, like, I got here at like 5 yesterday, and so I just hung out a little bit before the show. But I like it.
Yeah,
everyone's really nice. Like even at the show, like last night, everyone was.
Yeah, we got a really supportive scene right now.
Yeah.
What do you know? What part of town you're? Because you're doing that Airbnb. What part of town do you know?
I was super close.
Where are you really?
Millbrook.
Oh, you're in Clovis.
Yeah. So because I tried to like find whatever was.
That makes sense.
So,
but
I loved it.
Yeah, it's good.
I just kind of like sat on the porch and smoked before the show.
Oh, nice. Right on. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
got
cool.
in a good place and then ate a bunch of lasagna.
Yeah. What did you think of that lasagna?
It was delicious. I had the rest of it for breakfast.
Did you?
It was so good. Oh my god!
If those things are bugging you too much, you can. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to wear them. I like to.
Oh no,
that's
okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Did you like get to walk around, get to see all of like the antique stores and?
No, that's like even today because I'm working.
Right.
So this is like my lunch break.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, lunch break. That's so nice.
And so I've just been like going. Like I went to Fulton Coffee.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that I think is in. It seemed like a cute little area.
That's the downtown.
Okay.
That's like the Fulton. It used to be. Well, it's called the Fulton Mall, and like there's a weird like history with that. In that like Fulton Mall, it used to be. It's got you can drive down it now. It's like an outdoor mall or whatever. But it used to be paved over. Like it was just a walkway.
Okay.
And it was like the first like outdoor mall ever in the United States, and it was.
Oh my gosh, because that's all Florida is outdoor malls.
Yeah.
Like,
and it was like, I mean, something like 1960 or something like that.
Okay.
And it was weird because like Fresno then like developed this like. Developed this like reputation as like a consumer culture, and we were like the first market that Bank of America ever tested credit cards in.
What?
Like credit cards before credit cards were a thing. And there's a whole like I don't know if you listen to 99% Invisible.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I haven't listened to it in so long, but I love that podcast.
They do a whole episode on
cool.
Fresno. Yeah. And it's pretty wild.
Oh my gosh, I'll go find it because I love that
area
podcast.
you're in is pretty like historic.
Yeah, I really
cool
like.
area.
Yeah, so that was really like as far as like even I had to leave to come here, and I was walking around. I was like, oh, this is cute. Like I like yeah. So I might go back there when I'm done with work.
Oh, good. Yeah, you can go hang out there. I mean, the Tower District is really nice too. If you're looking for something to do, that one's I like that. I used to live down there. It's where our Wednesday show that we put on is actually in Tower District. Okay. That's a cool little area. You can just wander around. There's a lot of old houses and stuff. Too,
yeah, which I love old.
Yeah, old neighborhoods and stuff.
I like stuff like that.
It's good. You grew up in Florida?
Yeah.
What's that like?
Flat.
Yeah.
Like it's I just mean like land wise. It's fine. I liked it. I like it out here a lot better.
Do
but
you really?
I was born in Baltimore.
Oh, okay.
So we moved to Jacksonville when I was way young. And even when I moved to LA and people were like, oh my God, like you're moving to LA. And my mom was like, I always thought that you would go somewhere with more people. Like every time we've ever, and I was like, oh, like why? She was like, every time we've ever been somewhere with more people, you are way happier there. So she was like, I thought you'd leave.
Oh, wow.
Like, I figured you'd move. So yeah. I mean, I really like LA.
And your mom's not wrong. Like you have such a great energy, and you just like walked into like the venue last night. It's just like a room full of strangers, and you just like lit the place up and acted like you're so friendly. Like
well, that's like even I feel like sometimes I don't do that, like not in a mean way, but I'll just like fade into the background.
Sure.
So I feel like it's if I feel that energy, like I'm like, oh, everyone's nice. Like you're nice. You're the only person I knew.
Right.
Danny showed up and he was like, oh my God, you have my keys. So it's like everyone was already happy to see me. It was fine.
I mean, but I get that too. Where like when you're like, oh, this, you're like not vibing on an energy in a room. Like, I'll do that.
Yeah,
like,
and it's like not even I feel uncomfortable thing because I know. Even in comedy in LA, I've talked to at least 3 or 4 people that will be like, oh yeah, I don't go to that mic because I just like feel weird there. And it's like, I'll go wherever I feel weird. I just won't talk as much. Like I don't care. Yeah. But I know what you mean. Like there's like one place in LA or maybe 2 that I've had like an experience so gnarly that I'm like, I fuck that whole building.
Oh,
but
really?
I still will like go. It's just,
Good for you. Yeah, you're brave. Yeah, suffering for your art, I guess. In a weird way. I don't know. You seem to make it fun.
Like not the opposite, but like I feel it would be hard to say, oh, I'm not gonna go because there's still stand up there.
Right.
Well, you're gonna not go to a whole place where there's a place you can tell you're gonna cut that whole place off your list. Like, whatever, you're gonna have to suck it up at some point and go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like cherry picking. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, oh, I'm gonna go to the good ones because I know I'm gonna do well there.
Right. Or even if you get super comfortable, because I'll go to places that aren't bad, but it's just like all my friends are there. It's not the same as me running jokes where like these people don't know me from Adam and you don't care. Like if I bomb, it's because you're like some girl I didn't know wasn't funny, as opposed to like, oh, Katrina's here. Like you said, even because they know like I'm a pretty nice person. So it's like, even if I go to a mic with all my friends and it's like, and you guys are just being nice, I have to like go run this a bunch of people that don't know me. Kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. No, I get that. Because I mean, I'll see that a little bit in our scene. Where they'll be like, oh, don't go to Mondays, Tuesdays are more fun on the mic. You know, like that open mic at the end, you know? And I will say that it seems like a lot of the people that had that mentality aren't doing comedy anymore. Right. Like the people that were there last night are like the more serious folks in our scene, you know?
And I do think, I know it's because comedy's having this like moment right now also. Sure. But absolutely, and I know that I probably have a skewed difference because it's like I did stand up for 1 year in Jacksonville, which is very small, and then came to LA, which is very large. But there are people that I know for a fact how long you've been here just since I got here, and you are already wanting to only do certain things and this, that, and the other, and it's like, go to a mic, dude. Like, or because I used to run a mic, I don't anymore, just because it ran too late for my day job. Because I was literally like a walking zombie during the day. But I used to run a mic that went from like 11 to 3 a.m. And one time there was this kid, it was fun. It was like one of the more supportive late night mics. So it became this place where newer comics would come and be like, hey, even just to somehow by accident be a part of what I'm talking about, like fucking suck it up and go. But our mic became this like nice late night mic. So you could like go to mics all night and still go to one at 2 a.m. that wasn't people being like mean and over it. Like we had it was called Mom Party. So we had snacks and we had wine and like that. And me and the host were both just like nice like female comics that just wanted to have like a nice late night mic show. So that became this thing. But there was a guy one time that came and he was super new. It was like his first week in stand up and he was standing next to me and I think he was talking to me trying to get up earlier because it was a bucket, and he was like, man, I've been doing mics all day and I've waited at least an hour at every mic. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, and that guy was at the last mic I was at, and I was here before him at this mic, and now he's getting to go before me again. And I was like, yeah, man, that's like the mic. I was like, you could go dead last at every mic all night. Like, I just did that. Like, as far as like, this guy's a weekend. I've been doing this 5 years. I was at a mic a couple weeks ago where I was dumb and I put in my name too early. So I was literally dead last of like 30 comics.
Oh, right. Yeah.
The only reason I wasn't dead last was because a homeless guy put his name in at the end and then he closed out after I bombed and did great. Like,
and he did
right. Like, shut up. Like, no one cared. Like, because also you could go home. If you've done 3 mics tonight and you're brand new and you're tired, go the fuck home.
Yeah, like, nobody's making you do this.
Right, nobody's making. And also, you did great. Like, you put your time in. Like, if you feel like you're burnt out and irritated and you don't feel like waiting, then you're at your limit for the night. Right. But like, that is part of it. Yeah. You are not going to whine to everybody that hosts a mic and be like, oh, poor new baby. Let's get him up. It's like, yeah, waiting is part of it.
Right. And there's a weird...
And also, it's like, shut up and listen to someone's set.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
You're not supposed to be going to a mic to sit out back, talk shit with people you don't know, and then go up when it's your turn and leave. It's like, fuck you. You're new. Listen to someone's jokes.
Yeah. Like, listen, like, smoke half a pack of cigarettes outside.
Because you think that's what an open mic is.
Right. And I feel like there's a weird, like, romanticism slash like masochism to like the whole like hashtag the grind thing. Like,
oh my goodness gracious,
just like they love that
because it's like you could also just like love yourself and know when to tap out and go the fuck home and be like, you know what, I did X amount of mics this week, I'm feeling good, I'm gonna take a night off. And I know that that's a crazy thing to some comics to like take a night off, but it's like, even if I have a bunch of shows and then I'm like, ooh, I have a night off, I should run a mic, I'll go look and be like, do I have anything thing that I need to run. If I don't have 5 minutes worth of something, maybe it's better for me to stay home and write that night. Like you don't always have to be out just to say you were out, especially if you're going to be the kind of person that goes to a mic for 3 hours and then misses your whole own name because you've been outside. Or you're like, oh, what's going on? Oh, I don't feel like waiting, but you still sit around and bullshit for an hour. It's like you could have waited with your name on a list. You know what I mean? So it's like, there's a lot of impatience.
There's a lot of that like culture too. I mean, it's a toxic kind of idea, a toxic culture when you have like comics that aren't supporting each other. And I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but I mean, all the comics, I think with the exception of 2, were in the room the entire night. Like they all watched you and saw your set.
And it's like, you don't know me, you don't have to watch me. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, that's something that Danny and I have basically like beat into the scene. Like we're like, no, you need to be in there.
Right.
If you want to be good, we bring these comics out from LA and San Francisco and all over the place. And I mean, they're there for you as a resource, you know, like you did that fucking bit that, what's the disorder? Synesthesia. Like that bit is so wild. Like on paper, that bit shouldn't work. Like,
and it doesn't a lot all the time. Literally constantly bombs. Like I was so, even as I was doing less, I was like, why am I doing this weird ass bit right now? Do more dick jokes, you fucking idiot. They don't care. And it went over and I was like, okay, like you guys are real nice for laughing at that, because that does not always.
I mean, you had them eaten out of your hand at that point. Like, I mean, maybe if you opened with that bit, it wouldn't have been
like, who is this weirdo?
Yeah. But it was great.
They knew me enough to like hold on. They trusted me, which I really appreciate.
I think that's great.
No, that is not a thing that is like my type 5. No, that's a riskier one.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, like they were nice.
So growing up out and were you in Orlando? I know you started in Orlando.
No, I started in Jacksonville. I've never even been to Orlando. I know comics now from out here from Orlando. Even
that's what you were saying
that I never
last night.
did. Yeah, or like even because it's closer. I know more people from Orlando now that I've moved out here. But we used to have a pack of comics come up from like Daytona, and they would come up to Jacksonville, and then Jacksonville people would go down there, and we would kind of trade. But yeah, I didn't know a lot of anybody until I moved out here.
I mean, you kind of mentioned it. I talked about it a little bit, but what kind of kid were you growing up? Like, were you like you're real outgoing? And
I was outgoing. I was kind of the most likable loser. Like popular girls would literally say to my face, like, you're a nerd, but you're okay. Like they just, and especially when I was younger, I like grew up in the suburbs, and there's not no black people, but there weren't a lot of black people in Jacksonville when I was younger. And then like, there's a lot more now, but when I was younger, it was way more, you know, kind of like the one of a couple black kids in class or whatever.
Right.
So I was just like the suburban black kid that was kind of weird, but still like, I was just talking to my friend about this the other day, because he was like, oh, because I danced also. I was on like dance team.
Oh, cool.
And so he was like, oh, you were with the cool kids. And I was like, I hung out with the cool kids, but they absolutely knew I wasn't one of them. You know what I mean? Like, it was you're invited, but also we all know what page everyone's on. Like, don't get excited. No one's fucking me at this party. You know what I mean? Like, it was that kind of thing.
Sure. Were you a good student?
Yeah, until I was way good student when I was way younger. And then once I got to high school, I was okay. And then but when I got into college, I remember my senior year being like studying for something really hard and being like, wait a minute, I already got into college. Like, what do I have to do? Not fail? They can't fuck with me now. And I just started like bringing like Etch-a-Sketches and bouncy balls in my backpack. Like I was done. I just started like just dicking around all day long. So that was when I like super stopped caring. And then when I got to college, I started caring more because I liked the class. Like I would distinctly remember my first history class and them talking about something that I had heard about 1,000 times before, but all of the things about why it happened and the cause and effect and all that. I was like, oh, this is way better. Like so once I got to college, I liked school more again.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. What'd you major in?
advertising. So that's why I am a copywriter now.
I was gonna ask you like what your day job is. Okay.
Yeah,
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I just like write emails and stuff like that.
Just like for like mass mailings and stuff.
Yeah, and like just emails, product descriptions for websites, all that kind of stuff.
Is that like freelance work or is that
no?
Like...
Well, there is freelance work, but I work for a company where I do it for like makeup and stuff.
That sounds really good. I mean, it sounds like a good gig for a comic.
It's really fun. Freelance jobs are awesome. I'm always telling my comic friends to try them.
Because I feel like
you have to. A lot of them will be like you can work from home and you have to show up for like a meeting twice a week or something. You just have to be whatever like level of available.
Sure.
Like you can't be across the country, but a lot of them are awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Was it one of those things where like your degree came in handy, or were you like?
Yeah,
okay.
I didn't start stand up until I was like 26.
Oh wow.
So I loved stand up my whole life, but I didn't think I was going to be a stand up.
Sure.
And especially I think because when I was way young, I wanted to be an artist. I like loved art. I like did that like mail in art test when I was like 7. My dad let me do it, and they like graded it.
Oh,
like,
the one with like the turtle.
Where you draw the turtle with the turtleneck.
Wow,
with the derby cap. Drew the shit out of that turtle. But that was my thing when I was younger, and my mom was always kind of like, "That's super cute. You need a real job. Like, there's no like starving artist is burned into my brain forever. I can't get it out." Yeah. So I've never been able to wrap my mind around not having a job.
Sure.
So advertising even was just like me going down a list of majors and being like, I don't hate that. Like I like TV, so I'll do that. I don't know in what aspect. I have no fucking clue, but this is the only thing that seems like remotely like I could do it. And so that's why I did advertising. And then I graduated and did social media. So I started doing social media when they didn't have Facebook business page yet. Like my boss, I had been doing it for a year, and they were like, we need to come up with a title for you for taxes. Like they didn't even know what to call social media managers. Like I was one
so early on in the game. Yeah.
And so I started doing that, and it was for a women's retailer. So I would go on our photo shoots and do behind the scenes. So that's why even now, like social media for comedy stuff is fun, but it's kind of just second nature to me anyway. I'm used to doing a whole day job and also having to share whatever's going around in the office or whatever. So I started social media management before I got to like just write, which is what I
could almost see too, where it would almost like, when it came to like promoting yourself, like you might feel a little burnout. Like you're like, I'm doing all this social media stuff for this company, and then I got to get home and do it all for me too.
It absolutely, because before I started stand up, even I was doing I sold clothes. Like I just like because I love thrifting and estate sales and old stuff. We were just talking about old stuff.
Oh, cool.
But I love all that. I used to go to estate sales all the time in Florida. And so I had a pop-up
I bet
shop.
there's some good ones in Florida.
Yo, it's so great. All the flea markets are great. It's amazing. There's a bunch of like crazy racist old stuff that's still like it's interesting and horrifying. It's so good. And there's a bunch of crazy old dudes at flea markets that will tell you stories about like, there was this guy that had tried to sell me a cuff for $2 once, but he tried to tell me that the lady from, you know, when Marlon Brando let that Native woman take his award and do her speech for Indigenous women or whatever.
It was at the Oscars.
Yes, he was like, that lady wore this bang. I was like, no, she didn't. But he talked to me about her for like 20 minutes. Like it was great. There was this old black man named John Stevens that had bright blue eyes. I used to get him a lemonade every weekend. I loved like estate sales and flea. Like but I used to do all that. So even promoting that. When I would get off work and get ready for the store and be like, I'm going to be out this weekend. Come see me. So I kind of, not even the duality of it, that didn't burn me out, but the fact that it never turns off burned me out.
Right.
Not even for myself, but for my day job. Being able, like, even if I have a show, but it's 10 o'clock and we're doing something, I have to like live tweet event or something like that. That got like, I can't.
That's how I feel a lot of times. Not necessarily. I mean, you know, because we do 5 shows a week now. Yeah, and it's just like, I am just a vessel for promotion. I am a vessel a conduit through which promotion flows, and that is it.
That is the one thing that I do feel not a pressure of, but I feel more comfortable about it if I happen to already have done enough real life things that day that I can like pop in a flyer, and it's not just all flyers.
Right.
But it's just like I'll go and look and be like, oh, I just happened to have a bunch of random shit happen to me that I felt like sharing. Cool. And then I'll throw a flyer up and not feel so like, that's all this is for. This
is kind of like, whoa, we're wildly off topic, but I feel like a lot of what we do is trying to like figure out like the quote unquote algorithm, like the algorithm.
Absolutely.
Like,
and
like,
I feel that makes me feel better for you to say that, because I always think that I think that way because of my day job. But it's like, we're all figuring that out now. We're all mini social media managers, I guess. Where we're talking about when the best times to post are and all of that stuff.
And it's like this weird, like it's like some weird, like it's almost like a weird like religion where you're like, how do I please the algorithm?
I know.
Like
it's like we're trying to find the right virgin to throw in to the social media volcano and be like, is this one of a sunset okay? Like,
I have been sacrificing
she is pleased. We will have rain. Like, that's all we want.
Yep. That's oh man, that's frustrating.
As far as there are real things, as far as images with faces in them doing better, or things with certain colors, or even because when I was gonna go to grad school, I was gonna do semiotics and like how your brain reacts to certain things. And like, because there's studies on, they call it stop the thumb, but it's like what gets you, if you're burning through all this stuff, what makes you stop? Is it a color? Is it a face? Is it, what are the things that can get people?
Is that what they mean by engagement?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's like how long you stop on something, they track that. If you tap on it, they track that. If you comment but don't tap, they track that. All of those things.
So weird. It's weird that that's where we're at.
Yep. It's creepy. Yeah. Idiocracy is real. It's fine.
What was the moment for you when you decided, because you mentioned starting stand-up when you were 26? Yeah. What was the thing? Like, what was it was just like a nagging
thing I wanted to do before I died.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any intention to continue doing it. It was like, I just wanted to know if I could do it.
Yeah.
Like, I've loved stand-up my entire life since I can remember. I've been like,
I was gonna ask you about that,
regurgitating like Sinbad and Bill Bellamy to my mom when I was like 5. Like,
Sinbad is so funny.
Sinbad's Aruba special from when I was like 6 years old. Oh my god, yeah. So I've always loved stand up.
What's the special? I can't remember. It's a bit that sticks with me, like it haunts me. But his bit about like not knowing the joy of having kids. Like, you don't know the joy.
Because I'm just thinking about him dieting and then his mom thinking that you eat Slim Fast with meals. And her being like, this diet is great. And she's just like eating a whole lunch and drinking a Slim Fast. He's like, no, Mom, that's not how it works. Like, and she was like, I don't know what everyone's complaining about. Dieting is fine. Just like eating. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
And like baggy, ridiculous parachute pants.
Yeah.
Just crushing.
Just very
in the most
90s,
ridiculous linen outfit. Yep.
Yeah, that's great. So you grew up. Yeah, you grew up kind of a little bit.
Yeah. So like I always wanted to do it, and then I just wanted to do it this one time and be like, okay, cool. It's possible for me to do this thing that I love so much. Like, even for someone to be like, you should try stand up, and me to be like, yeah, I tried it. And just have anything to say, as opposed to people be like, you should try it too one day. You should do it, and I could just be like, yeah, I did it. Stop talking to me.
Did you have like actual jokes?
Yeah.
Or did you? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Some people go like, I'm just gonna tell a story. It's like, I don't tell that fucking story. Like,
no. Yeah. And like, it's funny because even you're talking about before we started, you're like, oh yeah, dad stories. I accidentally had in stand-up so many stories, and when I came to LA, I didn't know they were stories, and then people started booking me on storytelling shows, and I was like, funny. Oh, I tell stories? Like, I didn't know what those were, but so I have all of these crazy long jokes about my dad that when I first started, there were a lot of them, and my dad comes to shows, and he's fucking ridiculous. So when I first started, there was a lot of like, I remember at one point it was one of the first it was either a non-mic or it was a mic where we knew a bunch of people were coming, but it was like a mic with more stakes. It was something like that, like my first year. And I remember one of these local comics being like, yeah, you're not gonna have all your like dad jokes to rely on forever. Like to like try to like take a shot at me, like saying it's like easy, I guess, to have like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, so I've always had those kind of just naturally in me because my dad's ridiculous.
Sure.
And my mom too, but more my dad. And that whole
Yeah.
Like it kind of just naturally evolved into that. But yeah, I had a ton of jokes and like random ones, and it was just everything that I had ever thought counted as a joke, and me just wanting to see if those were funny to anyone else. Right. That's all I was like. Even that night, I was like, okay, cool, I did it. I didn't bomb.
I was going to ask you, so you did well, huh?
I didn't suck. I didn't suck for a while. Like, it took a while for me as far as, because I had so much prepared. So I did like 4 or 5 mics before I even was doing things that weren't the things I already had stored up. And then I did my first mic, and that night was up all night writing new jokes. I was like, oh fuck, I have to do these now. Cause it was nerve wracking and terrifying, and I didn't want to do it again. And I was like, great, now I have to go back.
Yeah, I was worried about like the people that like do well for like early on for a long time.
Oh, I was scared.
Yeah, because I feel like if you bomb early, you kind of
get it out of the way.
Exactly, like but then I'll see somebody who's like a month into comedy, they haven't had a bad set yet, then they have that bad set, and then they never come back.
And see, I know people that have had it like the second night and never come back.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But it puts so much pressure on you to know when people have been doing it so much longer or waiting for you to bomb. It's like, I want to bomb too. I also want to bomb, because this is stressing me out that you guys are, you know what I mean? Yeah.
You got to watch Danny, Tom, and I squirm last night. That was fun. Just like in our home room with all the people that have heard all of our material.
That's exactly what Danny, he was like, yeah, but those people have heard literally everything I've ever written down so many times. I was like, yeah, that's fine. Like, what are you going to do? Because that's how it was at Mom Party. Me and my co-host, we would text each other and be like, whose week is it to bomb? Do you start or do I? Who's bombing this week? Because it's like, no, even if you have new stuff, you know, it's like,
well, that's why I like to host, because like you can get away with a little bit more as a host, like and you know, I just you know,
you've got good energy for hosting.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
because I don't always bring it enough when I host. Like, I'll try to just be how I am normally, and people can't tell that is also an energy. Like, I just sound lazier than I mean to be sometimes. It's like, no.
Well, I try to tell Danny, I'm like, just go on the back end of the show. Like, he always wants to go on the front end of the show. And
back end's way better. That's what we would trade off. Was like, and first half or second half.
Or just like, you know, what I do on Tuesdays is I usually have somebody else hosts, and then I just do a straight up open mic spot. Like, I sign up for my own,
and that's
open
nice.
Mic.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's not as much pressure. You can get weird, you know.
Yep. Because that's what I like about hosting. Sometimes is I'll say something weird in between about whoever's set, and if it doesn't do well, I'm supposed to be bringing down the room to balance it out anyway. Fuck you guys.
Exactly.
And I need to bring up the next person.
There's just no. Yeah. There's zero stakes.
I meant for you to not laugh at that.
Yeah, exactly. I felt like you guys were too happy.
You're right. You're right. You were laughing too hard. I'm glad that I did that. Moving on.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. Well, okay, cool. Well, we've been bullshitting pretty. Yeah, we did great. Yeah. You're Katrina Davis.
Yeah. Hi.
And this is a podcast called Sad Dad.
Yay.
Where we talk about our dads. And you have a dad.
I do have a dad.
You mentioned him a few times now.
He's ridiculous.
And I know we mentioned this earlier. I like to start at the beginning. Where did your dad grow up?
He grew up both my parents grew up in Baltimore, Maryland. Okay. So I was raised by 2 Baltimore people who grew up in the hood and showed me everything, like, as far as like being the kid in the suburbs that always knows to lock everything. That's who I am. As far as like a bunch of kids that are in Orange Park that would be like, why would someone steal that? And I'm like, why the fuck wouldn't they? I'm that person. That's so funny. Because I was raised by Baltimore people.
That's so funny. Did he have like a big family, or what kind of?
He has the bigger family. He has 4 brothers and sisters. He has 3 older brothers, one of them died, and then a younger sister. Okay. So he's got 2 living brothers and my aunt.
I got you.
Yeah.
What's his family doing out there? Like, what are they, like, kind of like blue collar
working
nothing.
People? Everybody is just surviving. I come from one of those kind of families.
Sure. Yeah,
where like you don't ask what people are doing, you ask where they are.
Oh, interesting.
That's the kind of family we have.
An interesting nuance.
Where it's like my uncle, like one of my uncles, now that he's older, it's like way easier. Like, he has a cell phone and everything now, but like my whole life it was always just like, where is he? Like, I saw him. Like, the last time I saw him, he was here. The last time I heard from him, he called me from county or whatever. Like, so it's definitely that. And it's not even that, it's the most lovable, fun-filled people that should not be that happy. Like,
sure, yeah.
What is you guys know what's
Yeah.
they still live where they do. Like my cousins at one point this might have been when I was in like junior high or high school, they had a lockdown for like a week because there was like a gang related shooting on their street, but then someone was in some kind of stakeout in their house, and so no one could leave their house for like a week. They were on lockdown because there was just some maniac with like a shit ton of guns holed up like with the cops or whatever. So like they definitely, not all of my family, but there's still a part of my family that I'm very close to where me and my mom just get on the phone and we're like, why don't they fucking move? Like,
yeah, that's why. And like, kind of, I mean, you actually did a great job of like creating the backdrop for this whole thing. What kind of dad is your? I mean, what kind of dad? What kind of kid is your dad in all of this?
I think a lot of my personality is my dad. I'm a mix of both my parents, but my dad is definitely the gregarious one that never knows when to shut up. He likes people the most. My mom explains it the best, where she says he doesn't know how to go home. Like if there's that's why I spend so much time by myself, because if there's no one around, that's like me just being able to be quiet. But like if I'm around people, they're taking all my energy from me. Right. So like I'm now that person who takes like a half an hour to leave work because I'm just running my fucking mouth. It's like leave, like go home. Like I'm just always talking.
It's so funny. I always like associate that with like church moms. Like you're just
my dad was an usher for like 10 years. Like
that's funny.
Yes.
You're like I want to go home from church. I want to go.
And I get mad at myself. Like I'll get in my car and be like, I have a show. I can't just run my mouth about nothing to some like lady about her kids forever, but I will do it. Like that.
And like, do you feel it like when, I mean, maybe for you and maybe for your dad, like, is there genuine interest or is it like a compulsive thing?
Sometimes it's like, I know I need to go somewhere, but it's no, like I genuinely want to talk to these. I just don't know when to shut up. I will talk to literally anyone. Like another thing my mom says that I was going to make into a thing at one point, I still might, but like they got called in because I got in trouble in school and they had this whole long conversation about like how I was like such a problem in class. And my teacher was like, Katrina's not a bad kid. She could just make friends with a rock. Like, that's my problem. Because I do have that problem with people that I don't like, where I have to intentionally, even in comedy, there are people that I see where I have to just be like, hey, and keep it moving. Because I'll be nice to you by accident. I can't stay mad. I forget. I don't care. It's too much energy to remind yourself that people are shitty. So even if you're shitty sometimes, but you're nice, I'll be like, oh, yeah, I'll talk to you. And then be like, oh, fuck, I forgot. You're shitty. I'm nice to you. Damn it. Yes. I'll be nice to people by accident. I have to like actively remember
the worst is when
who to like not like to keep your distance from, because it's like I'll talk to anybody. I don't care.
The worst is when like your friend has the beef. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
oh, I'm real bad at that.
Yeah, and you're like trying to like,
and your friend's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, oh, we hate her. Might be. I'm sorry.
All right,
I forgot we hate her. We started talking about popcorn. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. Like, I will connect over fucking anything.
That's the hardest thing. Danny makes so many. He's like, Danny makes so many enemies so quick.
That's so
and
funny.
I'm like, I have to like have my friends back.
You're like, I don't have, this list is constantly updated, and you are so nice. Like, you are so friendly. You're like the most gregarious. So I'm definitely like my dad in that aspect.
Yeah. And so he's just making. I mean, and that's what he was like as a kid.
He comes to shows in Jacksonville, and I'll get there, and he already has his own drink tickets. Like that's the kind. And I'm just like, what the fuck is even happening? Like that's like every comic in Jacksonville loves my dad. Like he, oh my god, it's amazing. It's ridiculous.
And like for him too, like growing up, so is he like so he is like the popular kid growing up? Is that?
I think he was more of a troublemaker than I was. Like I was more the good version where I would get in trouble, but for making jokes. And I think my dad was for real, like getting into mischief. I think really? I think the part of my mom that keeps me more of like on the goody two shoes side of things. I think.
Sorry, that's my phone.
No,
it's my laundry is done.
Oh, nice.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. But yeah, he was more, I think, mischievous than I was. It was just because he was like a boy and he was allowed to break shit in the 70s and stuff. Like he would just tell me crazy stuff that I would never even have the opportunity to do in the suburbs. Sure. I was like, yeah, no, we weren't doing stuff like that because we had supervision or whatever. Yeah.
And then, I mean, was he a good student though? I mean, do you know, was he like making his grades and all of that? Well,
I think he was okay. My mom is way more the studious person. Like we both make fun of her. My mom loves learning. She's been in school my whole life. Like I was always on the weekends just hanging out with her at schools. Like we would just be at libraries or whatever.
What was she studying?
Well, she got, at this point, she has her doctorate in education.
Wow.
So, but she was always doing that, or she did her certificate. She's an HR manager, so she got like a billion certifications in HR.
Wow. Yeah,
She's got like, she loves learning. She's always in school.
Man, I have friends like that
I'm
that just
not
like love
that person.
I'm not that either.
I'll get high and watch a Ken Burns documentary, but I'm not going back to school.
I like what do they call it? Edutainment. It's it's like
I'll watch a Nova on black holes and like not know what happened.
I'll listen to your weird Radiolab episode about the fucking CRISPR or whatever. Yes. Yeah, sure. You know, like I'll do that.
I learned stuff that way.
Yeah, pretty much.
I've re-listened to the American Scandal on Iran Contra like 8 times, just trying to. I still don't get it, but I'll try. Like
it's weird. Yeah, we're selling arms to Iran to fund.
And it's like I don't know,
South American.
And it's like wow, a lot of this sounds super fucked up.
Yeah. And who the hell is what's his name? Ollie Wilson. Who's the guy in that whole? It doesn't matter. Anyway.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Anyway, whatever.
But yeah, so she's more that, and I've done like a continuing education class where you like go to a community college and they teach you Photoshop or whatever.
Oh sure, yeah, that's kind of fun.
Yeah, that's I'm done learning after that.
Yeah, that's real. And so you're well. I mean, your dad, he ends up, is he playing sports? Is he?
Oh my gosh, like my dad loves, he played tennis until he had his first heart attack when I was 12.
Oh, wow.
So he stopped playing then as far as just like running around as much.
Sure.
But my whole, like, even last night I mentioned my dad, like, we did not get along a lot when I was younger. Mm-hmm. We fought the most. And it's because I think treated me more like I was his younger sister. Like if I had to hang out with him, it was like, okay, where are you gonna be while I'm doing the thing I need to do?
Yeah.
Like not as opposed to, it was like, other dads like hang out with their kids when they have them, right? Like you know what I mean?
Right.
So he would play tennis and I would just like go play on a playground till like 9:00 at night. Like it would be like,
whoa.
All the other dads also went home like 3 hours ago. Like he doesn't, same kind of thing where it's like, oh, you don't know how to go home. He'll play tennis with some 25-year-old guy till like 10:00 at night. And then that guy's like, wait, you had a kid here this whole time? Like what? So he was that dad where now that I'm older, I'm less mad at him about it, but I used to fucking hate this dude for just dragging me around to all these shitty places that I didn't want to be in for so long, where it was like I couldn't wait till I became a latchkey kid. All I wanted to do was be left the fuck alone.
Just be old enough to be able to be on your own.
And I was just I tweeted this the other day because I was talking to my mom and being like, you were such a loser for like not making me wait till I was 12 to stay home by myself.
Yeah.
And then she was like, that was the legal age. Like if something would have happened, I would have gotten fucking arrested for having like a 10-year-old at home if like a fire started. And I was like, oh, I did not know that.
Yeah,
like I thought my mom
funny.
was just being like dorky as hell. She's like, no, I literally wasn't allowed to leave you home. So that was my thing, was like I couldn't wait to just be able to be old enough to just be at my house instead of at a bowling alley. That's his other thing. He's obsessed with bowling.
Oh, funny.
He met like the most serious boyfriend I've ever had. He met him for the first time, shook his hand, and then showed him his 300 ring. Like that's... He loves bowling. He does it all the time. So I like was raised in a bowling alley. I would come home, like I would go to daycare. My dad would pick me up at night. We would go to a bowling alley till like 11:00 at night when my mom got done with school, and then she would pick me up from the bowling alley and I would go home.
Wow.
That was like most like 3 nights a week for me when I was younger until I started dancing, and then I would be at dance until no one picked me up. Like he would come. I got home from dance one time at like 8 and I asked, like I was the last kid. It was closed. Like I was sitting on a curb and I was so mad that I wanted her to leave me. Like I wanted to be alone when he got there because I wanted him to be like, oh, why are you alone? And be like, because you're a fucking asshole.
Wow.
But he like, it was like 3 hours after my dance studio closed and this lady was locking up and being like, oh, I'll sit with you. And I was like, Renee, go home to your kids. I was so mad. And he would do that kind of thing where he was like, well, I'm bowling, so you can get picked up when I'm done. Like, but he was that kind of dad where it was like, I pay bills and everyone's alive. Why is everyone so mad? Like he didn't have the dad that like did, I don't know. He would volunteer at my school for like other kids too. Like he would volunteer with church kids whose dads were in jail, and it was like, yeah, but like we could hang out. Like, like it was so off how he.
Yeah. Do you feel like, because my parents, I'll say this part because I feel like I can relate to you on a certain level here, where my dad was always like, taking in strays like that. See, like we have a lot of property out here, and so like if there was somebody that was on hard times or whatever, he would take these people in, like give them a room and like let them rent, or sometimes he didn't charge them rent ever. But it was always like a weird thing for my brother and I growing up, because like we always had this like foreign entity around, you know, like it was hard for us to kind of like feel like our house is our own.
Right, because there's always people in here.
Right.
That
and
we
like
don't know.
these people would just worship my dad. Like they would just gush all over my dad.
Yes.
And after a while, it took me a long time to like kind of like put my finger on why that was so upsetting for me. But I think what it was like, oh, like I'm not enough for you. Like you almost feel inadequate as a child. Like I'm not enough for you. I'm not for, there's some parental like niche that I'm not filling for you. Is that what this, you know?
And I definitely can relate to that, and feeling like my mom was always saying like, oh, well, he's helping these people because they need more. Like if he would come to my school and read with kids, but he would read with the kids that were bad at reading, and I was good at reading. And so I would talk to my mom and be like, this is so messed up. Like I can't get this guy to hang out with me for an hour after school, but he'll come to school in the middle of the day and help these kids. Like what is going on? And her just being like, yeah, but those kids need more help than you. Like the reason you don't need that help is because he was around all the time when you were way younger, helping you with your letters every day. Because also he worked nights a lot when I was younger. So I used to get like irritated about a lot of stuff, not realizing that he was going to sleep like right after I left school. So I would be like, what the fuck, dude? And it would be like, yeah, but he's like opposite of the rest of the world. Like that's why he's not like up. But then also the thing of just being like, yeah, you're just the kind of dad that you're my kid, and as long as you're okay, but it just didn't have the same connection to other outside kids as, because I used to get mad at my friends for doing that kind of stuff. They'd be like, your dad's so funny, your dad's awesome. I'd be like, no, he's fucking not. Mad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you think some of it too was like he had gotten out of Baltimore, he gotten out of this tough neighborhood, and now he was in Florida, and it was this nice suburban neighborhood. Do you think a little bit was like, oh, I did it? Like, you know, I did it. Like my kids got a better life.
Well, that's
like,
what my mom used to tell me a lot, as far as like what he saw as his fatherly responsibilities were financial, and you know what I mean? Like as long as those bases are covered, this is what, you know what I mean? Even going back to what he saw his father do, and being like, I'm following the example of what I was told these boxes are that I'm checking off, and how those boxes changed for 90s kids, and whatever our expectations would be seeing other people's dads. You know what I mean? Because it's like, and that changing, because I feel like if I was in Baltimore, not like it was all this, but it's like I was just amped I had a dad for real. And then you get to the suburbs and it's like these motherfuckers are baking cookies for people and stuff. It changes. So even that probably changed my level of expectation of what a dad was supposed to be like. And I think my dad a lot is very much like, you're a girl. So like there were a lot of things that he defaulted to my mom, where he was like, and my mom and I are crazy close, but I think he felt less of a responsibility to be closer to me because I'm a girl, where he was like, you're fine, like you're doing your lady bonding.
Are you an only child?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I am not all the way, oh my gosh, a lot, but there are a lot of aspects of my personality that I'm very much a tomboy, and I think that probably is a part of it, is like always wanting to be able to connect to my dad, and him like assuming a lot of girly things about me. And I don't know if I became that person because of him, or if I am that person and it's like, you're dumb, I like the same stuff, you know what I mean? It's like now he kind of gets it more, where it's like, dude, we can talk about Anaconda for like an hour on the phone. Like it's not that just I'm a girl and you can just write me off as doing all my lady stuff, you know?
Sure.
Like he worked for CSX transportation, like the train company.
I was going to ask you about what kind of work he did.
That's like we transferred down because of CSX. Like a bunch of Baltimore people all moved to Jacksonville at the same time when they opened this branch. So it was like me, the lady that babysat me. Like we had this like little community of Baltimore people all move at the same time. Yeah, it was cool. So like one Christmas, I was like, Dad, all I want for Christmas is a CSX sweatshirt, just because I like it. I was like, all I want is a sweatshirt. He got me a pink rhinestone graphic tee that said like CSX in rhinestones. When I tell you I literally do not own it, I have one thing that is pink. And I love clothes, like in general. I do not own pink. It is my least favorite color. If you had something that was free and it was pink, I would be like, I'm good.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I opened it and I go, oh, Mom, this is yours. And he goes, no, it's for you. And I was just like, why would you ever? It was so funny how not for me it was, where I was just like, did you just, and I only bring it up because it was like, did you just pick a girl thing? Right. Sometimes I think he just defaults so as opposed to being like, what would my kid like? He's like, what would this girl like?
Right. Yeah.
I'm a whole person, man. Like, good God.
There's some nuance to me, damn it.
We're so much, and it's only because not even like you need to know me as an individual. It's like we're the same. It's like think about what you would like and pick that. It would probably be better.
How funny. Like, yeah. How did your folks meet?
Oh my gosh, it's so funny because I'll probably do this joke tonight, but they met at a bus stop.
Oh, okay.
So like my dad hit on my mom at a bus stop.
Yeah.
And she wrote his number on her book. Mm-hmm. And then my dad is always blowing stuff off. So she called him like twice. And she said she was going to call him one more time. And she was like, I'm never calling this dude again. And he said he was down the street playing dominoes and then looked at his watch and was like, oh shit, this girl's supposed to call me. And also, everybody listening, this is how old shit was. You had to schedule a call and be home to catch it. So she was like, I'm going to call you at X o'clock, like when I get done with school or whatever. And he kept fucking up and missing them.
Yeah.
And they didn't have answering machines. So she was like, I'm going to call him one more time. And he ran home and he was like, as I opened my apartment door, the phone was ringing.
Oh, wow.
And they like went out on a date or whatever. Yeah.
That's kind of sweet though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Did they hit it off right away? I mean,
they went out forever, but yeah, they wasn't both of, I think my dad would probably be like, yeah, like I liked her. But also he was so young, because also as a joke, my dad has a huge crush on Shaka Khan.
Oh, funny.
Who, I don't know if you guys know what Shaka Khan looks like, but she's mostly titties and hair.
Yeah.
And my mom is mostly titties and hair. And so I saw Shaka Khan. I was like, you, of course, like you were just like responding to my mom's ridiculous rack. But my mom is very practical, where I think she was like, he's okay, until they started like really date. Like she's not a very like, oh, it was love at first sight. Like if you ask her about the kind of stuff, she's like, yeah, he's fine. I love him now. Like she won't give you that like, like she doesn't have that in her. She's too pragmatic.
That's funny. So they dated for a while, or before you came along. Did they have you like when they were a little bit older?
My mom was 25.
Okay, no, she's relatively.
And she's very because she does even talk about like my dad wanted to get married, and she was like, I have to finish school, and then he wanted to get married, and she was like, I have to get a car, and then she was like, so like there were certain things that she had to put in place before she was like, okay, we can get married now. Yeah,
it's so funny too. Like, I mean, I know you said your dad grew up in Baltimore, but he seems so tailor fit for the Florida life. You know,
he is super chill. He is that, as far as the thing that I think even bothers him about other family members is like nothing bothers him. You can't like he'll get mad about tiny dumb things like like he'll get mad about like somebody on his bowling tournament like team messing something up.
Sure.
Like if you fuck with his bowling, there's an issue. Like but he'll let huge swaths of life things happen and like nothing seems to bother him.
Interesting. Yeah.
So he's very even keel for the most part. Like he yells, but also he doesn't know when he's yelling. Like when I was younger, one time he yelled my name just to come inside because he wanted to like ask me a question or something. But he has a very deep voice. And he like yelled like Katrina from like outside. Ooh. And I was just playing with my friends. I went inside. I was like, what? And he was like, go do whatever. And like told me to do something real quick. And then I went back outside and all my friends were frozen. And I was like, what's wrong? And they were like, do we have to leave? And I was like, no, why? And they were like, aren't you in trouble? I was like, no, he just sounds like that. Like they, like that. Yeah. So he has like, he can sound more like whatever, but fine.
And you touched on it a little bit, but what's your relationship like with him now?
Yeah, I mean, now we're way cooler. Between like how he is naturally, as far as like, oh, you can like just be here at this adult thing. Like, I would go to bowling. I have asthma. I would hang out in this bowling alley where you were still allowed to smoke inside. I'm like wheezing. My eyes are like as red as the devil's dick. And he's like, go hang out with the women's league for like 3 hours. Just like lesbians and divorcees. Just like, they're awesome. But it was just like, literally whole teams of man-hating men that I think even as like a gag they put together on a team, like as like their whole league was just those kind of women. But like what, like hanging out with those kind of ladies for like 3 hours at a time and just being like harboring irritation about that, and then getting a little older and just being a teenager that you don't get along, just regular teenage stuff. I for so long was like, I can't fucking wait to have the power to hate you the way I want. Like I was so, because also I was a respectful kid, so it wasn't like even when you're a teenager and you act out and you steal stuff or you fight and stuff, I would have gotten in trouble. I would have got my ass beat. So like I wasn't allowed to like yell or like do. So every time I was mad, I would just hold all that shit and be like, I can't wait. I'm never fucking talking to this motherfucker again. Like I can't wait for you to die just so I can't go to the funeral. Like I was so angry for so long. And then even the older I got and like realizing what his relationship with his dad was like, being more understanding about what he thought a dad was supposed to be, and also appreciating, like I said, because he's not a bad dad. Like he is a good person and he does support me in a lot of ways. It's just not all of the ways that you, like I said, even growing up in suburbia, I think I just started holding him to a different standard of things. But I feel like I grew up and just learned about a bunch of stuff that made me hate him a lot less. And now we like just actively, I think, talk to each other more. I think we just both make an effort to talk to each other. Because we can be cool and just not talk all year also. So now it's kind of a thing where like he'll text me and be like, hey, the moon looks crazy. And I'll be like, it does look crazy. And like that kind of stuff. Or I'll be like, oh, dad, like whatever is on. Like I'll like watch something on Netflix and be like, dad, this thing is crazy. If it's like a crazy action movie. Or I'll be like, oh, dad, like new Rambo or whatever the fuck. Whatever random thing that I'll like, and he might not text me back for, I sent them in a group text pictures of me at a show where I was like, hey you guys, this is the pictures from the night I lost my wallet, because I had to text them because I lost my wallet on the Santa Monica promenade. And so, and it was like a weekend and stuff, and I was like, hey you guys, like I wouldn't normally do this, but if you guys can drive to like my bank in Florida, I was like trying to get him to turn my cards off and stuff. So like that's the only reason they even knew. But I was like, oh, here's the night from when I lost my wallet. And then like 3 weeks later, he was like, these pics are great. Like,
so there wasn't, and so it was kind of like a gradual thing. Where there wasn't like one big like watershed, like, Dad, we need to have a talk or anything.
At all. And also, he doesn't talk about feelings that way. He doesn't. Me and my mom joke where it's like, Davis is run on denial. Like we've gotten a lot better and our relationship has gotten a lot better, but a lot of it isn't spoken at directly. The effort makes you know that this person isn't mad anymore. But like a lot of things that I would try to say to him just straight up about being mad at him and not being mad at him anymore, he would just look at me and be like, okay. And like if I felt better saying it, he'd be like, great, but he doesn't need to hear that. Like he doesn't have that. I don't think his emotional intelligence picks up that way.
I mean, he's such like I love the just the complicated nature of like him as a person, you know, and it's I mean, those are always the most interesting people, you know.
And it's funny because we got in a huge fight the last time I was home, and it's so funny to think about it going back because his dad had just passed away. He does not deal well with stuff like that, so he was just like picking fights with everyone already. And then we started fighting about the Real Housewives of Atlanta, but we were fighting in this weird hypothetical where I could tell he was like defending his dad.
Oh, interesting.
Where I was trying to say on this very hypothetical level of like, you shouldn't argue with your parent, or like if you fight with your parent like that, like you probably have a shitty parent. Defending this person on TV, no one we know, and he went into this thing where it was like, you shouldn't be that way, and I was like, yeah, but you're saying you shouldn't be that way in this very abstract, like perfect world way where it's like, yeah, but that dad's shitty. So if like, in a perfect world, you shouldn't fight with your dad, but if you have a shitty one, you might end up fighting with them. Like, what do you, and we got in this really crazy, intense, hypothetical fight that turned into a real fight. And I started crying and I was just like, I don't understand what you're like, we just like, I didn't cuss at him because I can cuss at my mom, but I can't cuss at my dad. He's like the nice Christian one. But like, so we got in this huge fight, and then the rest of my trip was like, okay. But then like, it must have been like 3 or 4 months later, I was talking to him on the phone one day and he goes, you know what? I was thinking the other day, and about that fight we had when you were here, and I was thinking, I shouldn't yell at my daughter like that. We shouldn't yell like that. And that is the closest my dad will ever get to saying. So I was like, what the fuck did you just say to me? Like, it was insane.
There's like a brief moment of self-reflection and self-awareness.
Yes, and like he would never say anything like that out loud ever. Like oh my gosh, you couldn't get my dad once burned me in the face with a cigarette.
Oh my God.
Because I was standing behind him and he just turned around and had it in his hand, but it like burned me like right underneath my eye. And my grandma was there, so I think he was also embarrassed that like he burned me with a cigarette.
Yeah, it's a tough parenting moment.
And he blamed me for standing too close to him. Like he never apologized. Like that's the kind of dude, and that's the kind of kid I am, where it's like I'll remember that until I die.
Right.
Oh, you're not gonna say sorry? Cool. Locking it in for fucking ever. Like that's how I got my payback.
Well, that's what like I love about the type of person your dad is, where we're like, oh, he's got like all these different facets and he's so like interesting and complicated, but if you were to say that to him, he'd be like, what are you talking about? Like,
he would not remember. Guaranteed. He would. Oh my gosh.
He'd be like, I'm a simple man. Like, I love God. I love bowling. I love tennis. I love my family. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm a complicated, nuanced person. What are you talking about?
He does not. Because I've told stories of like funny, fun stuff that he's done. The first time my parents saw me, I did a story about him, and they were walking out, and he turned to my mom and went, Trina makes up some crazy stuff. And she was like, that happened. And he was like, it did? It's like, yes, you did it. Like, he doesn't remember. Oh,
that's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, this is a part of the show where I asked for a dad-anecdote.
Oh, man.
And you said you had a couple in mind. So
no, but I just thought of the one that I want to do because it's a comedy one.
Oh, perfect.
And like I can only, because I've never said, it's not a real joke. I can only say it at mics because comics are the only ones that like it. But I had just gotten done bombing, and my dad happened to call me, and he was like, "Hey, what's up?" And I was like, "Nothing." I was like, I'm walking to my car. I just bombed so hard, and he goes, "Well, Trina, why don't you just find out the jokes that are funny, and only do those jokes?" And I was like, thanks, Dad. I was like, here's the thing. You can do the jokes that people think are funny, and sometimes they still don't laugh.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, comedy's hard. I was like, yeah, like that. But yeah, he thought for a second he had just figured out comedy for all of us.
Yeah, he's like, I got the secret.
Yeah. Which it makes, and it does, it still that was, I don't know how, maybe like last year or so he told me that, and it still makes me feel so much better every time I think about it, because it was just like, if only it were that simple.
Yeah,
like,
right.
That's what, but also even as far as like bombing and an audience looking at you and feeling like they like judge you so much, it's like, they literally, some people are like, well, why don't they just do the ones that I like? Like they think that you're just not doing the ones that their brain appreciates on purpose or something. Like but yeah, that makes me laugh. Anytime I bomb, I think about him being like, well, what's your problem?
It's so simple. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Do the funny ones. I'm just like, thanks, Dad.
Katrina, you've been an absolute delight today.
Yay!
If people want more Katrina Davis in their lives, where should they find you?
Well, my name on all of the social media and my website and everything is Katrina Savad, which is just Davis backwards. It's SIVAD.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah. It's just because there's 40,000 Davises in the world.
Sure,
there's
sure,
literally another Katrina Davis that does stand up in San Diego that I think goes by a different name now.
Oh, gotcha.
But yeah, so Katrina Savad on like my website, Instagram, Twitter, everything.
I gotcha.
And I'm gonna be at your show tonight.
Yes.
I'll be in Long Beach on Wednesday.
Hell
Go to my website. I have a bunch of shows coming up this month.
We're gonna have you back up for a weekend. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna be here in January, I think.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
That's great. Cool.
Yep. Whenever I know like the number, I'll put it on there.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. You've been a blast.
Thank you.
And we're back. Katrina Davis, she's great. Follow her on all the social medias, and thank you, Katrina, for coming out and doing that. You were awesome. Cool. We'll be back next week. I'll have a guest for you. I got to figure out who I'm going to have on next week. I've got some fun comedians that are coming out. See if a lot of them are only staying for one night though, which makes it a little bit tricky. But I've got a very funny man out of Northern California named Sean Reddy who's going to be crashing with me. He's not only a funny comedian, but he's about to be a dad. His wife is pregnant right now, so it's kind of, I don't know that I'm trying to think if I've ever had I think Andreas Tabuada on his episode, he was about to be a dad, or he hadn't announced it, that they were having a kid yet. I don't know. Either way, cool. So I'll try to get Sean on next week. He's so funny. He's such a nice dude too. So cool. You can Sad Dad Facebook page. You can like that. We can talk about. I don't know what have I been watching lately. I just finished The Apocalypse, American Horror Story. It was like the latest one they had updated to Netflix, and oh man, that was boring. Oh man, come on, what are we doing? It was just I don't know. But I hear the new one, the 1984 American Horror Story, is really good. I've been wanting to check that out. I don't have a way to watch it though. I mean, it's like you can rent it. Like, I don't want to rent a TV show. What are we doing here? I don't know. I digress. So yeah, we could talk about American Horror Story if you want, whatever you guys want. I'm usually down for whatever. I'm going to be in Northern California, August 10th, 11th, and 12th, up at doing the Savage Henry's Comedy Festival. So if you're up in that direction, come out, say hi, hit me up. I'll hit you with the spots. I guess they play. I'm so. It's going to be a tough time to be sober during that. Oh my gosh. It's just because it's like, obviously we're doing spots at night, but like during the day, it's just hanging out, playing like comedian wiffle ball and barbecuing and stuff. And, everybody, obviously a lot of people up in Humboldt County are going to be smoking weed, but, I don't really do that. So that's not really that, but maybe that's a weird workaround because, that's not one of the things I gave up for Sober October, but then I might get the munchies and I might ruin my diet. I better just stay away from all of it. So anyway, cool. Yeah, so Northern California, if you're up in that direction, come say hi, hit me up. I'll let you know what I'm doing up there. You can follow me on all the social medias too. It's at Dave Abkarian. Just look for the mustache. And then, I've been playing Borderlands 3. That I decided that's going to be my drug for the month of October. I'm just going to play Borderlands 3. And so far, so good. Level 9, went Operator. I just found out that they're releasing a patch to like buff the Operator. It's like, sure, of course. I would pick the one class that's like underpowered. I'm like, whatever. I did. I'll stop. I'm sorry. Cool. And then Sad Dad Patreon, if you want to help out with some of the hosting fees for the show, I'd love you forever for that. I'll love you anyway. You know how it goes. You guys are the best. All right. I'll be back next week, hopefully with Sean Reddy. If not, I'll get another great guest for you. All right, guys. Adios. Oh, I think I'm going to send you off with a little different theme music on the way out here. Something I've been dicking around with the last couple of days. So, okay. All right, this is it. Adios.